Welcome everyone. I thought I'd do a quick video on some of my favorite altcoins that I quite like and I'm always tracking. And you probably noticed from my Facebook page and Twitter, etc., that I'm always seem to be posting the same kind of coins, and it's because they're the ones that I'm always tracking, because they're the ones that I like the fundamentals of and the ones that I'm hoping to eventually get that ultimate buy signal towards the bottom so that I can accumulate for the long term. So these were ones that I held throughout the last bull run and had some pretty good gains on, and these aren't all of them. They're not all my favorite, but there are a couple. So just a reminder that I don't have an A for sale, and everything in this video is for educational purposes only and does not constitute financial advice. Alright, so before we get cracking on the different altcoins I thought I'd just do a quick recap of what I talked about last week. Okay, so I thought I'd start off with a total 3 here, and as you can see, we're in a clear downtrend and we're coming down. We're starting to kind of flatten out a little bit here. I'm looking at the weekly because, again, I'm looking for more the longer term. I'm not looking just for a quick trade in and out. So I'm looking for a change of market structure on the weekly to hopefully get several weeks to months minimum back up. So the main thing you can see here is came down, you had major support here, major support, that's become resistance, support, support. So this is a key level right here that it's got to get it. Got to get above here. But you can see we're just coming up into this zone again right now. So support, support, resistance, support is becoming resistance again here. All right, so we need to first of all get above this little pivot right there to show any sign of life, but ultimately we need to get above this one here. If we can get above this point here, so if we can get above 400 billion, then that would be a very good first sign of an uptrend, because what you would have there is a higher high, a higher low, and then it would be changing market structure. So the first sign of life would be above here, above this 350 billion, but then if we can get above 400 billion, then I'd be looking for at least a part in the leg back up to around this zone here. So kind of haven't got anywhere yet at the moment. It's just created another lower high at the moment until we can get back above this zone here. Okay, then after our total 3, we looked at others dominance, and others dominance lets you know pretty much the total market cap excluding all of your kind of leading cryptocurrencies, your top 10. So it shows you top 125, and it's very similar to your Russell 2000 on the stock market. And the reason we look at this is because, like the Russell 2000, it'll show you when the stock market is becoming a risk-on environment, which is when, you know, the market's quite bullish. Same thing with crypto. If market's flowing into your small caps, into your risky stuff, then it's showing a potential bull market and people feeling confident in the crypto space. So the reason why we're looking at this zone is because you can see right here, you've come up to your trend support right now. We've bounced off that zone. What we want from that zone though is we want to see it coming off high low out of here. It hasn't cleared its key zone yet, which is right here. It needs to clear this zone here, which you can see it's rejecting right now. What was support has become resistance, so we need to get above this kind of 9.5%, get out of here, test it as support, and then we'll change our market structure off this zone. So while it's above this zone here, we're still okay, but we still need to get that pump off out of here. If we were to fall below this zone, that would be a very, very bad sign for altcoins. And, you know, since 2015, since altcoins have begun, that trend line has held multiple times. So if we fall below that, that would be a very bad sign. And then, yeah, you'd be looking for it to bare minimum come back down to that major, you know, resistance, support. So you're looking at a 9% to 5% drop. That's nearly altcoins halving again from where they are if we can't hold the support. So really, really crucial support must be held, otherwise altcoins are in a lot of trouble. Again, final chart we're just going to recap on is your Bitcoin dominance, and we were talking about potentially coming up to that kind of 52% zone, rejecting there and seeing if it can reject there. So let's see what's happened since then and see if we might be getting some money flowing into your altcoins as well. Okay, and here it is on the 4 hour, and as you can see, it did come up and it did double top, just hit the circle zone and then fall away. We have recovered from there, high low, and we're coming back up again. But what we needed to do now is roll over and print a lower high and then take out this zone here. If it can take out that low there at 50%, that would be a good sign, because then you would have a lower low, lower high, lower low. You'd change the market structure after taking out a pivot low. But while we're above this, it's still quite bullish. All you've done is take out your pivot low. We haven't actually printed a lower high yet. So unless it rolls over pretty much now, where it is around here, comes back over and then takes out that 50%. So no bearish sign for Bitcoin dominance yet. There was that little, bearish move where it took out the pivot low there, but that's only the first sell signal. It needs to also then take out that low there. So you've had a lower low. We need this to be a lower high, and then it needs to go, because otherwise, as you can see, all we have is a very clear uptrend. Higher highs, higher lows going up. All that will be is a higher low until it turns into a lower low. All right, so must watch, must hold above 50, whatever that is, 50.9% to stay bullish. If we were to fall below anywhere below this 52%, break below there, that would be a bad sign for your Bitcoin dominance, which would be a good sign for altcoins. But there, so at the moment, still not looking too crash hot for your altcoins, as they're rejecting those key resistance levels, and also it hasn't actually changed its reversal pattern yet there. Okay, so the first crypto I want to look at is Polkadot. And the key things about Polkadot which make it so great is this one here, the interoperability. I'll go into further detail around why that's so important in a minute. The scalability of it as well. Like obviously Ethereum has been having all of these issues with scalability, and Polkadot will never have that option because of the power chains. The energy efficiency, again, that's something that's a downfall for Bitcoin that people always complain about as well. And also just the ease of use of the blockchain as well. So they're four very powerful and amazing things that make Polkadot one of the best blockchains, in my opinion, that's out there. And the guy that actually is the CTO, the guy that invented the code for Polkadot, the ex-CEO, was Gavin Wood, who was actually the CTO of Ethereum. He's the guy that made the code for Ethereum. He's I guess people would say one of the smartest guys in the room around crypto and blockchain, because he invented the number 2 blockchain in the space. So if anyone can make another blockchain succeed, it would be him. And he talked about why did he invent Polkadot in the first place, and the way that he kind of put it was that if you had an old house that had all of these problems, why would you try and restore and spend all that time and energy having to rebuild something that would take so much time, when you can actually just go next door, get a brand new block of land and build the house from scratch? It's a lot easier to build something from scratch sometimes than it is to try and fix up something. So that's the way that he looked at it with Ethereum, because it was created quite a long time ago. You have to go back and you have to do lots of work with that. Whereas Polkadot is your new house ready to go. And the great thing about it is that it allows the different blockchains to communicate and share the information with each other, which right now is not happening. And that's what the interoperability is about. Traditionally, each blockchain operates independently, which means they cannot easily interact or transfer their assets to other blockchains. So Polkadot will solve that problem and make things a lot easier. And then on top of that, the good thing about it is it opens up new possibilities for lots of new developers and users, because if you're someone that's a specialist in Ethereum, you can now work on other blockchains, but not just Ethereum and stuff like that as well. So it's not just having someone in their own little niche blockchain area, is that they'll be able to all connect together and you'll be able to get everyone on the same page. So yeah, and then on top of that, it also allows the transfer of the assets and data between the different chains as well, which again, right now is not happening. And yeah, it's just easier for the users to move their digital assets across the different platforms. So some pretty good benefits in regards to the interoperability there. They have this unique technology called parachains, and they use that to enable all of the, I guess that's the architecture of the Polkadot, which enables all of these parachains to communicate with one another. But I guess in summary, what they're trying to do is they're trying to create a scalable, interoperable, connected networks of blockchains, really. So if they can pull that off, it will be a game changer, like I said, for these 4 reasons right here. Pretty much everything that Ethereum wants to be and strives for. And like I said, Gavin Wood, ex-CTO of Ethereum, he was the CEO of Polkadot. He's actually stepped down, which a lot of people thought was a bad thing, but in my eyes, it was actually a good thing, because some people aren't born leaders. Some people don't want to run a whole company. For him, he's a tech genius, so he can now focus on the actual tech side of Polkadot and do what he was born to do from Ethereum, and actually focus on the blockchain and the code. So for me, it wasn't a bad thing. I'd rather him in there doing what he does best than trying to run all the day-to-day, I guess, rubbish that goes along with trying to run a company and stuff like that as well. So number one, let's look at the next one. Yeah, one of my next favorite projects is Chainlink, and Chainlink is a decentralized Oracle network that provides real-world data and inputs to smart contracts on the blockchain. So its technology helps connect blockchain applications with data from the outside of blockchain. So if you think about it, if you ever want to get data from the real world, such as stock prices, weather conditions, sports scores, things like that, this is where Chainlink comes in. It acts as a bridge between the smart contracts and the real world data. It works by connecting the smart contracts to data sources known as oracles. It is the first one. There are other ones now like Band and Dyer and other ones like that as well, but it was the very first one. And oracles can be anything from trusted data providers, APIs, or even IoT devices as well. I guess the thing that makes it so powerful is that the decentralized nature of Chainlink ensures that the data provided to the smart contracts is secure and tamper-proof, which is really, really important. If you think about if anything wants to move to the blockchain eventually down the track, anything that's really important, if they want to move it to the blockchain for that added security because it can't be hacked, then they need an oracle to get that real world data onto the blockchain to make sure that it's real and secure as well. So Chainlink gained massive popularity in the blockchain space, even back in the bear market when things were going to hell in 2018, because of its reliability, security, and the decentralization of it all. So it helps solve that problem of connecting smart contracts to the real world data, and we pretty much need some form of oracles. So Chainlink's the first mover advantage, just like Ethereum's first mover advantage as well. So until it proves itself wrong, it'll be the safest option to go through with having an oracle as needed. Okay, another one of my faves is Render, which has had an absolute killer run lately. Like, it's gone from 40 cents up to like $3 or something, 5-6x, which is one of the best performers that we've actually had on the crypto space so far. And if you don't know what Render is, pretty much, here's a quick kind of summary of a couple of things. It's distributed GPU rendering on the blockchain. So it's rendering of the metaverse. It's efficient, powerful, and widely scalable render network, and it's got a world-class advisory board as well. So if you think about the metaverse, if you've ever been on there and looked at some of the characters on there, it looks like something from a video game from 20 years ago, like Mega Drive graphics or something like that. Like, if you look at the games today that you can play on PS5, etc., compared to that, who's going to play games on the metaverse with graphics like that? So that's where someone like Render comes in, because if you want to really improve those graphics on the metaverse and on the blockchain, you need something like Render to solve that problem. So if we're going to move into this digital world, get all these amazing graphics that we have on the outside world onto the blockchain, Render is your go-to token that's going to have that happen. And to be honest, there's no competition that I'm aware of that's around it. This guy here, Jules Urbach, he is the leader, the best in the industry around it. He's got ties with Apple. He's been in the space for 25 years, and he's the best of the best. And if you look at the advisory board, look at the team behind this project as well, it's world class. It's, they're not mucking around. You can see why people are eyeing it off, and it is one to definitely watch and accumulate whenever you can. So yeah, there's a little summary of Render token there. Okay, next one is Crypto.com Crow. This one might be a bit of a shock to you guys, thinking, hang on, this one's not good. But hear me out around why I think it has potential. So obviously you guys know it's an exchange. The reason why I think it could have a bright future is because you have Binance, which is the clear leader. There's a lot of, a bit of fluff and a bit of stuff going on around that might lead to something, might not. That doesn't matter. But even if they do stay around, it used to be a battle between FTX and Crypto.com. They would all going after for sports teams. I think Crypto.com went for Lakers and FTX went for Miami Heat. Then they went for stadium sports teams, all these athletes and things like that. FTX is now gone, so Crypto.com has lost its competition. So it's the last man standing in regards to that kind of thing. So if they do make it through this bear market and no dodgy shit comes out from under the woodworks that we're unaware of, and they actually do make it through, they have potential to be a leader in this space. So this one's a bit riskier than the other ones because it can potentially go to zero like FTX. They probably over leverage themselves just as much as FTX with all these, stadium purchases and backing all these celebrities and sports stars and stuff like that. So we don't know. Another thing that worries me is that the crypto that they're holding, I think 20% of it's in Shiba, which is, why the hell would you hold 20% of your funds in Shiba? I don't know. So, there's a few things where about it is a bit more riskier than the other ones, but with no risk, no reward. If it can make it through, then potentially it can be definitely a leader in the space. And, with a market cap of 1 billion compared to Binance that has tens of billions, you've got a lot more upside with Crypto.com than something like Binance. So for me, it's all about risk to reward. I'd rather throw an amount of money that I'm willing to risk on something like this that has a potential 50 to 100x upside compared to something like Binance that maximum 5-10x upside. So that's the way I'm looking at that one. And for me, crypto in itself is a high risk, high reward for me. I'm not looking at something to just 2x to 5x. I can get that on the stock market. I'm looking for minimum 10 to 100x whenever I invest in something. So that is the aim of the game for crypto for me. So yeah, that's my idea. So yeah, they crypto.com arena there, they have the exchange, they have their cards for spending crypto and stuff like that. They've got a whole bunch of things going on. It's just whether or not they can actually make it through this bear market and be at the other end now that their biggest competition is out the window. Okay, next one is the graph, which has had quite a bit of hype lately, especially with all of the AI bullish sentiment that's going around right now. It is often referred to as the Google of blockchain. All right, so it's an open source software that used to collect, process, and store data from various blockchain applications to facilitate information retrieval. So I guess in summary, what it kind of does is, it's a technology that helps developers kind of access and retrieve data from different blockchains in a more efficient and decentralized manner is pretty much the easy way of doing that. So yeah, what you got to remember is that the blockchains store, large amounts of data, transactions, smart contracts, users information, things like that. But the problem is accessing and analyzing that data can be very challenging and time consuming for developers. So this is where the graph comes in and makes things a lot easier for them to retrieve that data. So pretty much the graph's goal is to create a decentralized and open data economy, on the blockchain where users can easily access the data and they can pretty much get that data really easily, and that's it. So it aims to make blockchain data more accessible and useful to a wide range of applications and industries. Okay. Theater is the next one, which is often referred to as the YouTube of blockchain. It's a decentralized video delivery and streaming platform. It's a digital currency that's designed to incentivize not only the content creators but also the users of the Theater network, and that's what makes it different to YouTube, because in YouTube you don't get rewarded for watching the videos. In fact, you probably even have to pay so you don't have to watch ads and things like that. Whereas on the Theater network, you not only pay the creators, but you also incentivize and pay the people watching the videos as well. So that's what makes it a little bit different. Traditional video streaming platforms like YouTube are centralized, and problem with that is that they come with high costs, slow streaming speeds, limited scalability, whereas Theater network aims to address these challenges by using a peer-to-peer network and using the bandwidth and computer resources from within that network as well. So it's kind of like an easy way to, reward those that contribute to the network. So the whole idea is that they aim to reward content creators for sharing their videos on the Theatre network, and then also for the people watching the videos as well. So by putting it on the blockchain, it just gives people more rewards, greater control over the content. You don't have to go through a centralized platform and things like that as well. But the things that really brought me to this, like I was super lucky. I bought into this at the ICO stage back when it was 5 cents. Unfortunately, I'd lost a big chunk of it because I wasn't watching when they changed over from it was when it was the Ethereum ICO and it changed over to the mainnet. I had a certain time to do it and I didn't get it. So I've got like 10,000 of them just sitting there that are worthless now because I can't change them over. But one of the things that first drew me to them in the beginning was the people involved within the team. So you got Steve Chen here. So the co-founder of YouTube is helping this as well. So he's actually on the advisory board for that. And then you've also got the co-founder, Justin Can, of Twitch. So you've got two of the biggest video platforms in the world that are, back in this thing. And then on top of that, you've got this guy here, Dennis Fong. And if you don't know who Dennis Fong is, he is, I guess the easy way to put it is he's often considered the Michael Jordan of video gaming. He was the very, very first professional paid gamer in the world. He's often, like I said, referred to as the Michael Jordan of the gaming space. So he's absolutely huge if you're in that space. So to have these kind of three people involved in this project, I always look at the team and they're not actually on there creating the stuff, but the fact that they're even involved in it means that they see something special for them to actually even have their name tied to the project. So yeah, it has a bright future. If we all know how big YouTube gets, if blockchain gets big, Theatre is that YouTube, so it could be huge as well if it follows that same kind of process as well. The next one's one of my faves, Engine Coin, and I always look for projects which is something that I personally have always wanted or would want in the future as well. And growing up, I was always a pretty big gamer. I was playing big games like Final Fantasy VII and stuff like that. Like I would spend hundreds of hours, thousands of hours probably playing this game, and but going around the world trying to collect every little gem and get every little secret armor and sword and stuff like this. And when you finish the game, you're kind of like, why did I care about spending so much time doing that? But you're in that moment and you're doing it. But the good thing about this is that, can you imagine if you would spend all that time getting those things, and then once you got them, you could then sell them to other people? That's the power of Engine Coin. It enables you to do things like that. So to summarize it, what it does is it aims to enable the creation and management of digital assets, particularly in the gaming industry. All right, so it's a digital currency that's designed to be used within the online games and virtual worlds that are being created. We know how big that space is getting right now. So for me, this is my favorite gaming coin. I know there's a whole bunch out there, but this is the one that I'm always tracking and that I like the most. So the key thing that it allows you to do is it helps game developers and gamers to create, trade, and monetize in-game items and virtual assets using blockchain technology. And that for me is an absolute game changer to be able to do those kind of things. So, imagine all the things that you were able to find in that, and they can be bought, sold, or traded securely on the blockchain network. And even these guys that are creating the games as well, like imagine that they could, put these rare items on their games that can't be tampered with or duplicated or hacked or things like that. And then they could be worth something, like these hidden gems within their game, and people would be trying to find them and stuff like that. Like it would just be so much incentive to want to play that game and things like that. So yeah, in my eyes, Engine Coin's going to revolutionize the gaming industry by bringing that digital ownership to the in-game assets, empower the players, game developers, content creators, all these kind of things. It's just going to be amazing, I think. And it's where games will eventually go. Like, can you imagine right now how many people play games just for the fun of it? Imagine if you're also playing and you can make money playing games as well. Like it's just, this play to earn stuff is just going to be, absolute game changer. But thing that is stopping them is the graphics, and the games aren't as cool as the games you can play now, which is where something like Render Token comes in to bring up the graphics and all those kind of things to make these games a lot better as well. So you can kind of see the theme that I'm getting. I'm trying to think about how all these things will interconnect and what things are needed, and then something like Chainlink did bring that data onto it and stuff like that as well. So, you know, you can kind of see how I'm getting confluency from the different coins that I'm always looking at and stuff like that as well. Okay, my last one is Audius token, and you probably always see me posting and chatting around this one. And the reason why is because it's quite a small market cap, so it has massive upside potential if it can do what it sets out to do. And what it's setting out to do is to be a decentralized music streaming platform that aims to empower the artists, the listeners, by providing that direct peer-to-peer connection. So you're probably wondering, what does it do? So the token is called Audio Token, and what it can be is a means of payment for the services on the platform. Artists and listeners can also use the audio token to access and unlock certain features or premium content as well. Obviously, it does all the governance things like most of the platform coins do as well. And then you can also stake the coin as well to receive your staking tokens as well. So incentive to lock it up to get more rewards as well. But again, if you look at the team and the people that are helping back this thing as well, you know, get like Deadmau5, Katy Perry, Nas, Jason Derulo, you've got some big music names there that are all backing behind this, that are happy to have their name tied to this kind of thing. Like, I know Katy Perry and Nas invested $5 million back at the peak when it was like $3 US. It's now down at like 15 cents US. So I think the peak actually was, $5 or $6 US. So, you know, this has a 50x upside just to get back to that all-time high, which I don't see why it can't, looking at what it can do. You know, obviously it's still early days, very raw. It has its glitches and things like that, like any kind of thing. But, you know, you've got some big names that are happy to get it out there, a lot of followers. And if it can continue to do what it's doing, it's kind of got that first mover advantage as well. Again, there's a lot of copycats out there, but Audius is by far the biggest one and the first mover advantage as well. So, and it's still a fairly small market cap considering it is that first mover advantage. And for me, you know, I always talked about music and being able to get into that on the blockchain, I just think, again, is a game changer as well. So that's it, guys. They are my tokens that you know, some of them, not all of them, but there's just a few key ones that I'm always looking at, and you probably notice that I'm always charting all the time. There's some fundamental reasons behind why I'm always looking at them and the reasons why I'm looking at them. So all I do now is, you know the reasons why I look at the fundamentals of these coins, and then I just look for the charts to align with that as well. And, you know, these coins like Audius and that, like, I love the fundamentals of that, but I had no problem selling that at the top at $5 as well. And that's the thing you got to remember, is you can't be emotionally attached to your investments, because they're never going to love you back. All right, it's going to be a one-way relationship. You're the only person that's going to get hurt by that relationship. So if you're seeing a massive signal on the bigger time frames, don't be afraid to lock in profit, because then if it retraces, awesome. If you love it that much, you actually want it to go lower, because then you can accumulate a lot more ready for when it does run back up again. So don't fear things going down. Be glad they do. Just make sure you've got the liquid there to be able to accumulate it more when it does go down. That is the key. All right, guys, take care, and I look forward to the next video coming soon. Thanks, everyone. See you next time. If you like the video, make sure you like and subscribe, and let me know if you want more videos like this, not just about the charts as well. Cheers, everyone.